Well, the first thing was at my press conference in 2011, accepting the job, I expressed the importance of recruiting the state of Florida, and especially any players in our local geographic region. And so we spent a lot of time in those first few years laying the groundwork. We were able to get Shane Larkin out of Orlando, Tanya out of Hialeah, DeAndre Burnett, local product. So we've been developing relationships, and my assistant coaches really get the credit for that because they're out there talking to high school coaches. Chris Caputo has known Lawton Williams from New Orleans, he said, for about 10 years, even 5 years before we even came here. And he does a fantastic job with that program. They've won a number of state championships. They're in position to win another one this year. We recognized Dewan's talents as a ninth grader. He knew he was going to be tall and athletic. So we started recruiting him, watching New Orleans play. They would come to our team camp, had a chance to watch him a bunch there. We followed his AAU program, team breakdown. And so we've developed a very nice relationship with the New Orleans basketball program, Dewan's mom. They know us very well, and I think there was a comfort level there. But Dewan had the opportunity basically to go anywhere in the country, and he narrowed it down to 3 schools, Miami, Florida State, and South Carolina, visited all 3 schools, and then eventually chose us.
And a follow-up on that, what do you like about his game? Do you see him even developing maybe a 3, or is he a 4, or even a 5? Where do you see him fitting in?
Well, I like everything about his game. He is, I would classify him as a 4-man, but a very, very athletic 4-man. 6'10", 215, 220 pounds, runs the floor really, really well, takes the ball to the basket really well. He's got great hands. The thing that separates him from a lot of big guys is he's terrific defensively. Very, very active defender. Can guard his own man, can guard ball screens, can block shots. Most high school players who are highly recruited are very offensive-minded and have a lot to learn defensively when they get to college, especially how to play hard. They just don't know how hard you have to play. That's not true. The whole New Orleans team plays extremely hard, and he has learned to put great effort into the defense. So he's going to be very well prepared to come in and make an immediate impact.
How does it help with future recruiting when you get guys like this? I mean, is it like a domino effect where when you get 2 top 25, 30 recruits, the other ones start to pay more attention?
Well, it's a combination of things. We've signed 3 kids. One is from Oak Hill Academy, one of the traditionally strong basketball prep schools in the country, and he's 7 feet tall. So that was a coup for us. It wasn't made as big a deal because his national ranking is not as high, but he's potentially a really outstanding player. Then to sign a top 30 player like Bruce Brown at the guard position when we're losing Angel Rodriguez and Sheldon McClellan, you need somebody who's a high-quality player to replace guys who are basically all-conference caliber guys. And then to have a player like Dewan, who's not only top 30, but really top 20, and we're graduating our 2 starting big men, Yvonne Cruz-Uceda and Tanya Jakiri. So again, we get a very high-quality player who's going to be able to contribute right away in a position where we're graduating 2 outstanding players.
Coach, with Jaquan, can you talk a little bit about his development? And you had Manu here last year with Angel. It seemed like a crowded, point guard position. Has he been helped by now getting more consistent playing time, and just how has he continued to develop?
Well, it didn't seem very crowded to me when we were in the NIT and Angel was out with a wrist injury and Manu was dealing with a sprained knee. But last year, the NIT gave Jaquan an opportunity to play more minutes. He took advantage of those. The areas of Jaquan's game that needed the most attention were his three-point shooting and his free throw shooting, and to give him more time to become a natural point guard. In high school, his high school team, Newman Goretti, basically played like 4 guards, and they each took turns running the point, and they were very, very good at that, won the state championship. But Jaquan came here and had to learn some things. He's worked on his three-point shooting. He's been very, very good going to the basket. He's gotten stronger at that. He's improved his defense, and I think he's just playing with a lot more confidence. He's very, very comfortable in his role.
Is he the guy that, I mean, just looking from the outside, he seems the one that's the biggest surprise, if there is a surprise. Everything else was sort of expected, that Yvonne is thinner and is going to be better, and Tanya's stronger, Angel, but Jaquan seems like he's really elevated his role.
Well, he's not a surprise to the coaching staff or to his teammates, because we just felt like his progression, very much like James Palmer's, is going to come. You know, James is off to a very good start as well. He's shooting the ball at a high level. His defense is improving. We'd like him to be more active as a rebounder, because he does have that capability. And I like when James rebounds, because then he's capable of pushing the ball in the open court. But Jaquan and James come in together and step in for Angel and Sheldon, and we need both of them. We need both of them to play at a high level, because if you're basically 2 leading scorers go out of the game and you replace them with 2 guys who don't produce, now you struggle. And I think what's made us so effective in these first 5 games so far is that Jaquan and James have done a great job, and then you add Anthony Lawrence to replace a Davon Reed, and we don't skip a beat. Oh, those 3 guys are really talented players who are playing very well.
Coach, how do you expect this team to react to the sudden jump and all the success? And do you expect to keep those stay in check?
I don't think it's a surprise to any of the coaches or players as to how we're playing. The challenge was never about just playing well. The challenge is to play consistently well, because we've played well sporadically all last season. Our challenge is now to get ready for a very fine Northeastern team, a team that reminds our coaching staff of Butler. They're very similar to the team we just played in the championship of the Puerto Rico shootout. They have a highly skilled team. They've got a tremendous scorer in a kid named Walker, who's averaging over 20 points a game. They are a very scrappy group that won 23 games last year, beat Florida State at Florida State, and took Notre Dame to the final possession in the NCAA tournament.
So that's how you do it. This is a nice opponent.
That's it.
Along that line, the other day when I was watching the game and you're up 40-19, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe they could use a close game to see how they react. And I think you got it. How do you think?
I mean, when it was 4 points with 3 or 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, and you know, I thought, well, here it is. Well, how do you?
Well,
what did you
here's the
like
thing about games. When you're playing at the level that we're playing at, and we're playing an opponent who is also playing at a very high level, there are always runs. We went on a run early, and then in the second half, they went on a run. But that's very typical, and normally there are those spurts throughout the contest. Someone will go on a 7-2 run, and then the other team will go on a 10-4 run, and it just goes back and forth. It seesaws. So with in the Butler game in particular, we knew they were going to be a very difficult team to get away from because they have so many skilled offensive players. And when Kellen Dunham had a low-scoring first half, I think he only had 3 points at halftime. You know, we told our players at halftime, he's going to get more shots, he's going to get more opportunities, he's going to try to take advantage of them. We've got to be ready for that. But Roosevelt Jones got him off to a great start in the second half, and Dunham picked it up in that last 10 minutes. So Northeastern is very, very similar, very similar.
What did you see, the way your team reacted when it got down to 4?
Well, what I saw is what I want to see consistently is no change. To kind of understand, we played really well, now they've played really well, now we have to respond. And I think one of our coaches overheard Angel say, hey, we've been great from being up by 15 and 20. Let's see how we respond now with just a 4-point lead. Let's stay focused. Let's play some lockdown defense and finish strong. And we did.
Can you talk about Angel's performance down there?
To win MVP
Yeah,
in
that's
San Juan, Puerto Rico, in front of
Yeah.
his family and friends, sensational. And he was cool, calm, and collected throughout the tournament, very focused. And he's been that way. We need him to be that way. I've told you that all the time. When Angel is right and he gets the support from his teammates, he can't do it all on his own now. That's part of the problem, is when the other guys are just looking for him to do too much. It's when you have a guy like Sheldon gets 27 one night, Tanya gets 20 and 12, Davon Reed hits a big 3, Jaquan Newton gets in and gets a dozen points. That's what Angel needs, that I don't have to do everything. And when the other guys are playing well, we're a much better basketball team.
You talk a little more about the depth. You mentioned it earlier, how you don't miss a beat. That's one of the things the commentators said over and over and over and over during the tournament, just that your depth is just, 6 guys in double figures, and that you had said you wanted 25 from the bench, and the bench is averaging like 34 or something. You just talked about
It's pretty
that.
darn good.
Yeah.
And that's why we're averaging 90. Our goal really is to average 75 points or plus. So we want to be able to get to 75 with 4 or 5 guys in double figures. But the bench, because of its offensive production, has gotten us from 75 to 91. And it's a different guy. Jaquan's been very consistent, but James has had big moments. Anthony Lawrence has been very good and very productive. I think Buka is like a point-a-minute man. And now we've added Kamari. He's only played in 2 games, and he hadn't played in a year.
Right.
No competition. So he's really just getting started.
Hey, Jim, I want to ask you, going back to recruiting, how many spots, I'm not a math wizard or anything, but how many more players, or are there more players you could still take in this class in the later period?
We have 2 more scholarships available at this point.
And you expect to use both?
Well, we're going to continue to recruit very hard to find the right guys to fit what we already have. We have now 10 scholarship players. We basically have, 4 guards, 4 forwards, and 2 centers. So that's great balance already. We actually don't have a prototypical point guard. Even Jaquan is not just a pure point guard. He's a scorer as well. A Bruce Brown can play the 1 and 2. James Palmer play 1 and 2. Say Davon Reed can play the 1, 2, and 3. So we have flexibility, but it would also be nice to have an Angel Rodriguez or Shane Larkin in the program.
You talk about Jaquan, following up on him, when, he can get to the lane, like, amazing, nobody can stop him seemingly from getting to the lane, but the shot, and you mentioned, was the big thing he had to improve. Was there something in his form that needed to be corrected or fixed, or just repetition to keep putting up shots in practice?
Well, it's really both. The technique, it's the what we refer to as the ready position to shoot. So feet ready, hands ready, so that when you're catching the ball, it's a quick release. And he's just worked on all the little fundamentals to improve himself.
How many, is it under 10 tickets that are left, season tickets, or are we sold out now?
We are totally sold out for the season.
I can't believe you didn't open with that.
We weren't before I got started.
Oh, okay.
But we are now totally sold out for the entire season. You guys cannot buy a ticket. You're lucky that you're going to get a free seat at this place, because we could have sold your seats as well.
Uh-oh.
So now
We
there's
better
no
check
pressure
and
to
make sure we
perform.
got Now, can
You know,
uh,
it's the greatest feeling for a coach to inherit a program whose history and tradition is at a level where people are telling you there's not much interest in your program and that you're not going to draw great crowds. And to now be in a position to say every game this season is a sellout. That if you walk up the day of a game to buy a ticket at the ticket window, there will not be any available. There might be some that you can buy from a scalper. I don't know how that works, but that's very, very different than the program we inherited. It's very exciting. It's quite an accomplishment. And it's not only the first time in the basketball program's history, but the first time in the athletic department's history that any sports team here at the U has been sold out for the entire season.
and what does it do for recruiting?
Well, it's certainly going to be a text message that goes out today to all our recruits, letting them know that we'll be sold out. It'll be in an email to all the parents, and it'll be a message we send to all the media who hopefully will promote it in their articles and in their broadcasts that for the first time ever, the Miami basketball program will be playing in front of sellout crowds. It'll be standing room only at the Bank United Center.
There's no room for the bandwagon. The bandwagon's
Yeah, the bandwagon is full. But what we do expect, and this is very understandable, it won't mean that the Buck will have fans hanging from the rafters every night, because sometimes people can't make the games. What the next step will be is figuring out a way for when people can't make the games for them to give their tickets away so that we'll still have fans filling the seats. Like
Good problem
particularly Friday at 4 o'clock.
to have. Good problem to have, huh?
Yes.
How many tickets is it? That,
That's 6,500 tickets sold, 1,500 available for students.
wow. So there are no walk-ups, or there may be some, just people turn in their tickets? No. No one can walk up and buy a ticket?
Not as of today.
Wow. It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that is that purely the way your team is playing? Is it that the marketing did a different job
No,
to get people?
First of all of this is about tradition. And this started in our first season. And the excitement leading into year two, when I basically walked into the Board of Trustees meeting and said, hey, I think we've got a great team. And I think we could be the best basketball team in Miami history. That year, we had 5 sellouts and got ranked as high as number 2 in the country. People were very excited to follow that team. The next year, there was a drop-off because of all the graduation of losing 6 seniors and Shane Larkin. And we had to replace them with a lot of new guys. Last year, we had 9 players in the program that had never worn a Miami uniform before. Yet at the same time, that team was able to get ranked as high as 15th in the country, knock off Duke, who was 4th in the country at the time, at Cameron Indoor Stadium. That team was able to advance in the NIT to the championship game and play in the NIT championship in April, the first time a Miami team had ever played in April in the school's history. And with basically the starting 5 back and a strong bench returning with a good recruiting class, there was a lot of excitement before the season ever began, and we had already set the attendance record before November. But what we had the potential to do, which we have now done as of November 25th, was to sell out every ticket in the arena. And that's in part due to Shane Larkin, Duran Scott, Kenny Kaji, and that group. And now Angel Rodriguez, Sheldon McClellan, Davon Reed, Yvonne Cruz, Yacita, and Tanya, and this year's team with the anticipation of having another great year. You're late.
Timely, yes.
So it's all Tanya Jakiri.
Well, here's the wonderful thing. Tanya Jakiri made all tournament. He was also ACC Player of the Week. Sheldon McCullum was all tournament, and Angel Rodriguez was the MVP. But what was so special to me is the TV broadcast raved about our bench. So everybody is getting recognition, and that's what winning does.
With Tanya, I keep thinking about one play against Butler.
Which
where-
one?
Well, he grabbed an offensive rebound
Ah.
through his elbows and put it right back. And I feel like that would not have happened last year.
No, it wouldn't have.
Was that just something that he felt he had to do to send a message? You know, Butler was going on a little run there. I mean, he's talking
No,
about
it's
kinda-
it's his natural chronological progression. He was really capable of doing it last year. He just didn't know it. But he's really determined to have a great senior year. He's worked so hard in practice, and his teammates are beginning to recognize how good he's playing, so they're willing to get him the ball more, and he's willing to share it with them. One of the things he does, he passes the ball back out beautifully. He had one of those great rebounds where he just threw it back out. And that's the difference. When he's capable of doing it, knows he's capable of doing it, his teammates knows he's capable of doing it, and the coaching staff has known for a long time.
How do you see the officiating going? I don't mean critique, this was a bad call game. I just want to see what you think about, you know, there made a bit such an issue this year about emphasizing different things. How's that?
You know,
impacting the game?
so far I think the officiating has been consistent at both ends. So, you know, my concern was there would be a free throw contest instead of a basketball game. And it hasn't been that way. It's been called, I think, pretty consistently well. Some of it, I think, our players, I think, have done a very good job of not fouling. And I think our opponents have done pretty well, but I think we've been pretty good at attacking and getting fouled, which we want to continually do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach.
Congratulations.
Thanks.